We are.
Okay, we are ready to begin.
Thank you. The Santa Barbara County Historic Landmarks Advisory Commission for October 13th, 2025 will commence. So first thing we do is a roll call. So I guess we'll start at my left and we'll go across.
Rob Knight, 4th District.
Second district.
Oh, Ronald Nye at large.
Keith Kaufman Gray, 1st District.
Sheila Snow, 1st District.
John Villarino, 4th District.
Randy Malcolm, 5th District.
Thank you all for coming and for being here. Are there any folks who want to make a public comment on National Indigenous Day?
Mr. Chair, we did have someone express interest in speaking on public comment, but they left the room and they didn't fill out a speaker slip.
Oh,
Yeah, he was walking through here. I didn't see him come back, but he did express interest in wanting to make a public comment, but I'm not sure where he went.
well, perhaps we can let him comment if Ms. Ryerson says it's okay when he does get here, fit him in somewhere. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
And that we have received no letters.
Thank you. Here we come to the minutes of the last meeting, the unapproved minutes. Does anyone up on this end of the platform have some suggestions or corrections? Okay, so. All right.
Yeah, the minutes in the packet were the wrong ones. So the ones that are on the desk today are the correct ones.
I believe Jonathan also emailed the correct ones in the online packet. Yeah. Well, I can start while other people are perusing on item number 5, project discussion. Second sentence. It says that concerning the Danger Mound Preserve, make that an apostrophe S on preserve. On the second sentence on number 5, Danger Mound Preserve, put an apostrophe S at the end of the word preserve and add plan 2. Plan to legalize and that which is already there, and mark out the word of. Then going down 2 lines, sentence that starts with around impacts 2 and slip in the word potential. Dropping down to district reports on the last bullet for Kaufman Gray's comments. I suggest a couple word changes. Kaufman Gray's update. I don't know why I did this. I'm trying to read my own writing. I guess the word a. The update a to I don't know what I'm saying. I should be the commission. I guess never mind that one.
Did you mean to say updated?
Oh, that's not an A, that's a D. Thank you. God, I'm out of it. Apologize. yeah, updated the commission. Duh, thank you. And then on the second line, extra caution is needed as to designate instead of landmark any state-owned land that runs along the highway. Dropping down to the last sentence on the same page, which goes, the request and scope of work should be fleshed out, and instead of saying and outline, say as well as. I think that's all I have. Thank you.
I move to accept the minutes.
I second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Right. Commissioner Salaga abstains. And I guess, Commissioner Villarano abstains also. All right.
Okay, I believe we have a vote of 602 to approve the minutes. Well, because
Oh, yeah.
Villarano abstained and then we have Witasha.
Right. Thank you. Is this the gentleman who would like to speak?
You would like to speak public comment today? Yeah, we'll reopen it. If you want to come down, we get 3 minutes for you.
Is he? Well, whenever you're ready. Okay, well, wave to me when you're ready. All right. Now it's staff update on our agenda.
I have one staff update from IT. In the next, I believe this is in the next year, that we're going to be budgeting in tablets for the commissioners. So you'll no longer be receiving paper packets. You'll be receiving tablets that will receive updates on them with all the materials. So we're moving away from paper packets. And this is not just this board, this is going towards the planning commissioners and the board of supervisors as well, to get away from the stacks of staff reports that we send out.
Can you
There-
say that again? They're giving us electronic tablets?
Yes, and there will be training on them coming up for that as well, to make sure that there's no questions or hopefully any technology issues that you'll run into.
Being an old dude, I need to try to keep up.
Absolutely.
Well, it should work because I have my one foray into electronics. And aside from my computers, I have a tablet and I've more or less figured it out. But I guess that's the way it needs to go.
My apologies, I misspoke. It's actually not for historic landmarks. David just messaged me right now.
David's listening to us.
Yes. He wants to
Hi,
make sure
David.
we're doing okay.
Once again, we're on the short end of the stick. How many of these battles do we want to fight? All right, I have more questions about that as soon as. Jonathan, is there some reason why this commission did not?
I believe the staff reports for Board of Supervisors and Planning Commission are 500 pages sometimes,
Lengthy, yeah.
like very lengthy. So it might not be as needed for this commission as those commissions.
That's true. And actually, it is easier getting getting paper and emailed.
Definitely.
Okay, false alarm.
False alarm.
Okay. Any other staff update?
No, that's just the only step.
I guess our gentleman is not ready yet. Next, number 5, we turn to chair project discussion. I will say that before we get to the one on your screen, I mentioned at the last meeting that HLAC received a letter from planning department of the county asking us to comment on the proposed project up at the Dangermond Preserve. That, yeah, and I mentioned that I would respond to that, and Commissioner Snow agreed to review the ND report, negative declaration report, which is a bit like an environmental report, and fill us in on whether or not there is a potential to, in her mind, to impact historic resources up at the Dangermont Reserve. I'll hand it over to Commissioner Snow.
Okay. Well, I read the negative declaration and a lot of it was beyond me because it was also with air pollution and all that. But as to the historic sites on the property, they are not going to be affected by this project. That means the historical buildings. There are also archaeological sites that they've mapped out, and when if you remember, they're getting rid of wells that were put in the 80s. And so any well that would be trenched through an archaeological area, which have been set out, they are going to be above ground. And when they're doing anywhere near, they will have either an archaeologist or a Chumash or monitor of it. And I thought it was well done. The negative declaration is actually preventing a whole CEQA, but as to the historical landmark aspects, it was good to go.
Okay.
In my opinion.
Thank you. Any questions on that? To the extent that we can, let the record show that Commissioner Witosh has arrived at 20 minutes after 10 through no fault of his own.
Sorry, Ron, what site were we talking about?
A danger, I don't know. Dangermont Preserve.
Dangerman, it's the ranch that has Point Conception, the lighthouse. It's a huge ranch. It's changed ownership to the Dangerman. It used to.
Okay.
It's a beautiful site.
It came before us as a project a year or two ago because it is owned by the Nature Conservancy. And they came in here and we asked them about the historic homes in there. And there was, a historian.
It doesn't go anywhere near the historic buildings. It's for the cattle, and the buildings are in this area that's like all fenced off.
Okay. Thank you. Well, based on Commissioner Snow's report, I did send a memo to Henry Wakamaya, the project planner, telling him essentially that we agreed with the negative declaration report that there appeared to be no potential impacts to historic resources, and if the project changes, we might be interested in reviewing any changes. So that is, do I have anything else to report, Keith, or are we moving? Yeah. So all right, you won't have anything here. Um, are you ready, sir, to speak? Okay. This is a good time for it. If you want to. Good. You clearly state your name.
Yes, sir. My name is Kiss, the comedian. I have a letter here.
Oh, okay.
I wrote it down so I won't mess it up.
It's your letter?
Yeah, I wrote it.
Okay.
Yes, sir. ChatGPT. AI is taking over. Um, Good morning, government officials, councilman and councilwoman, members of the Parliament, House of Lords, and emperors. My name is Kiss the comedian. I'm an artist and a YouTuber, and yes, I am a Black Republican. They're eating the cats and the dogs. The other night, I had a dream, a crazy one. I shot a commercial with Michael Jordan for his NBA on NBC, debuted on October 21st. Warriors versus the Lakers, which is next week. In my dream, my character is a photographer for the broadcaster's poster, and I'm wearing my Dallas Cowboys shirt. And Michael Jordan is sitting on the side of the bleachers next to Mike Troiseau and Noah Eagle with a cigar in his mouth and a baseball bat in his hand. I tell Michael Jordan, can you move a little edge from the edge a little bit inside so I can take a picture of the poster? Michael Jordan looks at me and asks me, what is your name, photographer? I reply with excitement. I say, my name is Kiss the Comedian. Michael Jordan goes, well, Kiss the Comedian, you can kiss my, and then the NBC logo flashes on the screen. Lakers versus the Warriors, October 21st. And in the background, the classic song starts playing. Sometimes I dream that he is me. You got to see, that's how I dream to be. I dream I move, I dream I groove like Mike. If I can be like Mike, if I could be like Mike, be like Mike, be like Mike. Michael Jordan is my GOAT. But my actual question for you is, I was wrongfully kicked out of the Rescue Mission homeless shelter for interviewing the people at the shelter and telling their stories on YouTube. So my question for you is, as powerful as you guys are, do you guys have any services, any way you guys can help me with any resources in town?
We don't operate in the social services realm. We're very highly focused on historic resources, unfortunately. So I share sympathy with your situation, but we don't have any official power to help you out.
You look like a powerful man. That's why I asked.
Well, looks can be deceiving, but I think you're doing the right thing by speaking out and asking for help. That's to be commended.
You can be my Bill Clinton of Santa Barbara or George W. Bush. Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
All right, thank
Thanks
you.
for everything you guys do.
Have you been on the website? Because if you go on the county website, they might be ways that you can get where to go to get help for, whatever you're looking for. Because there's different agencies that it might be able to steer you to that agency that can help you.
I have not been on the website, but I would definitely do that, sir. Go to the library today, look into that. Thank you for your comment.
All right, good luck.
Guys, thank you for everything you do.
What are we on? Budget? Pearls of wisdom on the budget. Okay, Commissioner Kaufman Gray has some pearls.
Yeah, I just, in the past, under expenditures, it usually has the date of what this covers. I mean, it does say the 25%, but I'm thinking, Jonathan Martin, if you in the future could put those dates in there, because right now it has the full year. And didn't we used to have the period that this covers?
Yes.
And I don't see it on here. So it would be helpful. I mean, it does say that 25% elapsed, so I assume it's 3 months, but it should be somehow in there how we used to have.
Absolutely.
And then the second thing is, I just want all the commissioners to, when you're looking at the budget, we're getting back to the same problem, staff support. You look at, I mean, it's only 25% elapsed, but we've already spent 30% of the 25%. Now, if you remember, last year, planning development moved money from professional services up to staff support. So just for your remind you what it used to be, staff support used to be 6,800. And as you can see, it's now 13,300. And even with that increase, we still over for the 25%. And what the money came from, just so you remember, is professional services. That's where we got the money to do landmarks and anything we wanted. And that used to be 9,100, and it's now only 5,000. So that 4,100 went up to the. So I just wanted everyone to be aware, we're still having budget problems.
Yes, we are. Commissioner Solaga.
Do we, since we are being charged for P&D's staff support, we're like a client, I suppose. We have a right to request how they're spending their time? I mean, don't we?
Well, as
I don't have an answer for
former
that.
chair, what we ask staff to do gets charged to it. So I was always explaining from head of planning development that we need to be careful what we ask for because we're going to be charged for the time that is spent doing that. And as you probably remember, our budget is 21,100. As you remember, that has not changed since 2011. One of our big discussions was trying to get an increase, and instead of getting an increase, they just moved money around that we already had and within our budget. At the time, they said there's just no money for increases in any.
Still, that said, I mean, having been an architect that you kind of build for time, you do timesheets, you say, I did this at such and such, and I charged an hour or whatever. That's turned into some kind of supervisor, I would assume. It would seemingly be easy for the supervisor to send us something that says, these are the people that worked on your projects and these are the amount of time that they spent.
Well, I'll add, based on my experience, and I'm sure this will ring a bell for you, is that when a application is made for a permit, that's exactly what the county does, is send you your bill and a list of, or an accounting of who worked on the project and how much they were billing you per hour and so on and so forth. So they do it for the public. I don't know if we are big and powerful enough to warrant further bureaucratic exercise on the part of the planning, in their opinion.
Well, yeah, in their opinion. I mean, as again, a client, I think we have certain rights to understand what they're doing on our behalf.
Yeah, I'm also curious where the money is going, if there's like an example that we could be given of where the funds are being spent.
Well, I've been ruminating about starting an ad hoc committee on a definite campaign on behalf of this HLAC on how we can get the attention of the planning department as far as the budget and several other issues. And and see if we can find somebody who will come and sit in a room with us, because this has been going on for a few years now. So does this commission think that's a good idea? And if so, who would like to participate on this ad hoc committee?
So what is the idea?
The idea is to brainstorm ways to approach the planning department, planning and development, about our needs and why our needs are not being met. And there's kind of 4 or 5 major problems that Commissioner Kaufman Gray has already sat down with the planning department about, but nothing ever happens. And we need to come up with some solutions here. And for some of you who have been coming in for quite a while, you'll notice that we never review projects anymore. And that is a specific policy change that the Planning Commission made a good 3 or 4 years ago. And they have their reasons, which I'm sure are legitimate to some extent, but we have to have a reason for being here. And the reason we've been churning up our own projects, we've been going out and landmarking things and doing other types of activities and putting plaques. It gives us a reason to have a meeting. Otherwise, we should all just stay home, and will stay home. So that's what's going on. Oh, Commissioner Kaufman Gray.
I just want to remind everybody, I think I mentioned this just before I left being chair. Remember, one of the big problems is when we landmark something, it has to go to the Board of Supervisors for final approval. And then now we are getting charged for that time to do the final approval, where we never used to before the Rocky Park nomination. So the Board of Supervisors actually during their budget meeting this year discussed this, and it might not be exact, so but 2 of the supervisors, or 1 of the supervisors at least, directed the planning development to look into not having landmarks go directly to the Board of Supervisors for final approval. They came back to that supervisor and said that it's going to be a bigger project than that, because the Chapter 18A has to be completely changed, because as you know, and they're looking at other things to change at the same time. So it's not just that one thing about not having to go to the Board of Supervisors. There's things like a new fee structure. They can get fees for pay for the landmarking. And there's other things that could be put in Chapter 18A at the same time. So it turns out this is not just changing how a landmark goes to the Board of Supervisors. They're looking at a larger chain that involves fees to help pay for these changes and other things. So it's not just the one thing coming back to the Board of Supervisors. They're now looking that they have to do a major. And this is the big delay that's going on because, as you know, the county has all kinds of other things on their plate. And I have a feeling this big change is getting pushed back. Because things like, social services, you heard about, budget from federal, all of this stuff is taking precedent over our little commission. So, I like the idea of something that maybe we can meet with planning development again, to kind of put pressure on how is this going, how is this thing going, or if maybe it hasn't even started yet.
Let me just interject that we've noted also that in terms of our needs on this commission and the things that we'd like to have done, there are clearly short-term items that are having to do with easy policy changes or those kinds of things that we think the planning department could easily do to help us out as far as our mission here. But then there are the longer term, more complicated issues that Commissioner Kaufman Gray has just discussed. But there are, I've forgotten what were some of the short term things that we thought could be accomplished. Ms. Kaufman Gray.
One,
Okay, go ahead.
maybe last year we had, because of the project decline, we didn't have meetings a certain month, certain times, not every month. So maybe consolidate more and until they actually work on it, maybe not every month, but if we only have a couple of things on the agenda, you know, consolidate it so there's a month hiatus here and there in the year, because I noticed in past years that would happen. And that may be partially why we're a little over the regular meeting.
It's true that in the past there, we do have had times when there was no agenda. But the only reason it hasn't been almost every month is because we've been trying to come up with things to do. I mean, it would really be a long term. Okay, who is next?
Well, I had,
Mr.
so
Witosh.
I've noticed a couple things. Number one, we have not been meeting every month. There have been several months this year that we have not met. Number two, we have not, I mean, I think there was a little flurry of attempts to designate properties, and those were received, and we designated those, and that's great. And we have been making plaques and so forth. But I do not see, you know, since the planning and development have not been sending us projects to review, I'm concerned that there is, even if we tinker with the mechanism, where there's going to be nothing in the system for us to do. And that's a default problem. And so I'm wondering, first of all, I support the idea of a meeting with P&D to just simply become educated as to how this whole system works, what is being charged, and what proportion, what percentage of time and so forth goes into each of these little pigeonholes. But I'm concerned that we are, if we meet, you know, once every quarter or maybe twice a year, that we will pretty soon not exist. I mean, regret, I say that with regret. But if, as Mr. Kaufman Gray reports, that there is a whole systemic review going on with the 18A and all the rest, I think we need to know what that is, and maybe provide input if we can to that, because I fear that the way it's headed is that there will be no designation process people will agree to.
Okay, Mr. Kaufman Gray.
I agree. This is the time they're planning this big overhaul that we should meet, figure out what we want to put in chapter changes that we always kind of discuss. We just went through the Moody Sisters. Is there should be a little thing in there about maintaining a landmark designated status it was when it was designated, so that if someone just lets them go to be fall apart and then they say, oh, we have to tear it down because it's worth anything now. That's something that this would be the time that in there. There's a little more to do. And so I think a subcommittee to discuss this, I mean, try to meet with planning development, see how they're doing at their end, and then also have some things that we can say, hey, we would like to have this inserted also in any changes that are coming forward. And then just the other thing about budget, I just want you to know that We now have a senior planner assigned to us, even though we have not really used this person. But a senior planner does not charge us for hours. So, our Jonathan Martin, staff person, does charge hours for the hours. But they have, used to be, we didn't have a senior planner. That person was charged hours. Now assigned a senior planner for whatever kind of question that we should utilize that person because they don't. Just like county council here, we don't get charged. So, we have to be strategic on what we do and who we ask to do things. We keep asking Jonathan to do things, it's going to cost more. So that's just the nature of how it's organized.
Let me interject before the next comment is, for many, many years, there was indeed a senior planner at our disposal here in the room. It's until very recently. And I don't know what the economics of that was, but those people were pretty active. The other thing is, in my opinion, this whole issue of whether or not we review projects that are appearing before the board, that in what I know now, which is not a lot, but it has to do with a specific policy goal of the Planning and Development Office, and that is one of, I think, a short-term fix if we could get the department to see a way to work with us on that issue, because we understand that the planning department is overwhelmed with work and it takes a long time to get projects through. And we were low hanging fruit. If you eliminate historic review, it may help some of these projects get through the system. But anyway, so Mr. Salaga.
I want to come back to my point because it's actually very simple. And it's I think easily satisfy my curiosity as to how many hours and who's putting in the time. I mean, if they in fact are charging by the hour, they must be turning in time to some kind of accounting department, if you will. And just like they might notify other entities of time spent and charges, it would seem very simple for them to push a couple buttons, send us information monthly basis if there has in fact how much and what it was for. I mean, that's just a simple bookkeeping thing that we don't need to involve a lot of bureaucrats.
Right. Thank you. Any other thoughts or comments?
I just wanted to say that if there are major changes, I think we should be involved in setting those.
Thank you. Would someone like to help us start an ad hoc committee? Okay. Well, I hate to have just the same three of us on every ad hoc committee. I don't
We can
know.
now have four.
This is a committee to meet with the P&D.
It's to meet together first to come up with a strategy and then try to have a meeting in a real room with real people about this issue.
I'm interested.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we have, now we have more than four. We have, it's Commissioner Snow Commissioner Salaga, Commissioner Witosh, and
Yes, you do.
Well,
I think
with my background.
Commissioner,
I would mind being on it because I have some
Yeah.
background knowledge.
I think Commissioner Kaufman Gray should be on it because he's the one person that they know and like, and they're used to seeing him and they like dealing with him. So that's a real advantage for us.
I think we need that.
We do. We need that. Okay, so who?
I don't mind that.
Okay, so then I guess I'll jump in there as the fourth person. So we have now created an ad hoc committee consisting of Commissioners Nye, Witosh, Hoffman Gray, and Snow. And one of us will somehow figure out who's leading the charge. But we don't have to do that here.
Need notification and venue, because there are some people who are out of town here that would have to drive in for such meetings.
Yes, that's true. And I understand that. Yeah. We'll have to just do the usual email conference. Yeah, conference. All right, moving along. Thank you all. District reports. Mr. Kaufman Gray has been active.
Oh, I just wanted to go over some things. First, I want to go over our subcommittee on potential landmarks, which we have not met since the last meeting. But I have been having some conversations. If you remember, I mentioned that in the summer, I picked up the phone and got a hold of the head father at Our Lady of Mount Carmel Church in Montecito. And we had a nice discussion. And it wasn't a definite no. He was, this sounds maybe interesting. And so I hadn't really heard anything since July. So on September 30th, I did a follow-up email to him, Father Lawrence, and he responded on October 8th. And he apologized for being a little late on his email because he just celebrated his mother's 100th birthday. So he had been out of town for that. And he mentioned that he is talking with parishioners and his staff, and he'll get back. I directed him to the video that's on our website now, so he can see who we are, what we do. And so, it's nothing positive, it's nothing negative, it's just in the works, and I'll give you more updates. And as far as the other potential landmarks, nothing is really happening. We're having a hard time getting contact with owners. Okay, the other ad hoc subcommittee is the placement of bronze plaque. Now, I was hoping today that our agenda item would include all three of our landmarks that have, we're trying to place plaques to. And if you can see, our agenda item is very specific. So unfortunately, we're not going to be able to make a decision on the other two today because it's not on. Remind everybody that if it's not on the agenda item, we can't really do discussion back and forth. And so anything like approval where we want to put a plaque should be as an agenda. So just to give you a background, on September 17th, Commissioner Nye, Commissioner Snow and I, we did a little field trip and we drove up first to Arroyo Hondo Bridge area to figure out where we wanted to put some pictures to show. And also, Jonathan, can you show the earlier ones that were in the packet? And so we first walked down when we were there at the site, we walked down to the actual bridge. And if you can go there, okay. So as you're looking, this is looking at going, it's really west, but if you look north the bridge, there's a bunch of boulders at the very end. So we walked across the whole bridge, and when we looked at the boulders, go down the other way, where you were before. We found a boulder we really liked. Go scroll up one more. There. And So we thought, well, this boulder would be a really nice one. If they could move it to the other end, because people don't really go to this end, move it to the other end. So you can see, to give you an idea, if you're not real, if you're confused at where you're looking at, there's the southbound lanes of 101 just at the top. You can see a truck going by. So we thought of all the boulders we saw, if we could move that to the other side, that might be a potential one for a plaque. So scroll back down like you were doing, Jonathan. And okay, go back one more. So where Commissioner Snow is standing, we thought, well, we looked at both sides of the bridge and we thought the left side would be more visible and it could be put up against dirt out of the drainage area. And we thought that might be a good spot for a plaque. And keep going, Jonathan. Another potential one is there's an existing sign right next to the bridge, which talks about the steelhead trout passage below. And we thought, well, this might be a potential spot. Easy, you could place it on there. But of course, the what we discussed at the time, which we kind of, we'll have, we thought it'd be an easy place to steal. I mean, they could just pry it. It's bronze, and bronze. So we kind of nixed that idea, but I mean, that is a potential way to do it. It's just plaque it there. Because as you know, historically, you don't want to be placing stuff on an actual old bridge. Concrete is very flat. Okay, so so we looked at that as we thought that would be a really good potential site. We also looked at, I don't know if you've ever been since it's been reopened, but as you get off the freeway, you go past to where the bridge is, you go up, and there's a big turnout, and there's a vista point. And Jonathan, there. Keep going to the next picture. I think it's there. So this is the new vista point. If you haven't been there, it's pretty amazing. They have all these great signs that talk about the islands, talks about the whales, and the very far right side, it actually talks about Arroyo Hondo Bridge in the farthest right plaque. And just to give you an idea how much money they put into this, there is a mosaic into the ground of a sea otter, and it's all different stones made into like a sea otter eating a sea urchin. And it's all done out of stone. I mean, it's amazing what they did. So after we had the site visit, I emailed Krista Kia, who's Caltrans District 5. She's kind of the head of all the people that we talked to. We had a conference call, as you remember at the last meeting I talked about. And she said she'd be the point person to give information. So I gave her, our preference was moving that boulder to the other side. And she came back to us on September 17th, this month. I'm talking without looking at my notes here. So yeah, I sent the email on September 17th. On September 23rd, she replied. And she said that they really could not move the boulders. They recommend that if we want a boulder, go to a local quarry, pick out one that we like and have it moved and pay for it to be transported. I think a lot of it's liability and just Caltrans, Anyway, that is what they recommended. But they liked the idea of putting a plaque up by the vista point. And they said that they, because I told them, Jonathan, go back to the other picture before this. When we were at the site visit, we thought this rock would be potentially a good rock. It's right to the right of that vista point we saw. Now, of course, the big problem is the bridge isn't there. You have to walk down to get the bridge. And so that's why we thought the other was a better idea. But after discussion, we started thinking, there'll probably be 5 times more people seeing the sign at the vista point than actually walking down to the actual bridge. And so that's why we thought, well, this maybe might be a good spot for the sign, because it might get people to say, oh, well, then let's walk down and then look at it, instead of walking down and then seeing this. And people that are in, not ambulatory would be able to see that there is a county landmark. It is by the way, the walking path down to the bridge is wheelchair accessible. It's a really nice path. Now, they liked the idea, Caltrans did, and the new picture I sent you, Jonathan, probably be after.
This one?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, these pictures. They recommended, in addition to the one you see down below, to the right of the bench is this other rock that has a flat top. And they recommended as a possibility, and it didn't recommend it, they said either one of these would be fine, is possibly put it on the top of the flat rock. As people are more apt to see something looking down than looking forward. And I never thought of that as I started thinking, smaller person, you look down, there's the plaque right there, or on the side might be missing. But it's just a matter of discussion. Now, I was hoping today that we could make that decision. But since it's not an agenda item, we can't really discuss this. But what we'll do is we'll put this as an agenda item later. This is one of these things that, we're not rushing. We don't have a timeline. We have the plaque. We can decide to do it later. And just so you know, and I mentioned this before about the Cold Springs Bridge, is we do need it's called a Caltrans encroachment to be able to put anything Caltrans property. So that is something that when we decide where we want it, then we have to fill out this Caltrans encroachment permit, submit it to Caltrans, get approval, then it can be done. Problem is, we're gonna have to figure out who is going to install it for us, because whatever we pick, we'll have to sand it, get it flush like at Rocky Neck Park. Rocky Neck Park was easy because the county of Santa Barbara had a skilled person that went and did it for us. Might have to pay somebody to do that for us. Anyway, I just wanted you to know, the bridge looks great. We ended up going, so Caltrans and us and the committee pretty much has decided that we can do either one of these rocks near the business. And we can discuss more at the next meeting, pros and cons of having it above or down below. But it looks like if we have it down below, they're saying it doesn't cost that much to get a rock and have it hauled up. I can't imagine the expenses nowadays that it's not, but there is quarries in Santa Barbara that use all the out sandstone. Oh, I want this for my yard. So anyway, that is the Arroyo Hondo Bridge. Now the Cold Springs Canyon Bridge.
Could I ask a question about that?
Certainly.
I went there and looked at it. And did you notice a sign that, there's a sign there that made me think twice as I'm walking down to that bridge.
Is that the do not?
No pedestrian or do not something? And
What it is, and the first time I went there, that is for the freeway, so cars don't go back on the southbound freeway. The sign is right there that makes it do not enter, but it's for cars not to go back the wrong way on the freeway. And I know, and there is that gate there, which is the gate makes you think, oh, you're not supposed to go there, but it's more for cars don't drive down, but it's open, so you just open it. But that sign, it is so cars don't turn around and go the wrong way on the 101. Because it's right near the on-ramp, or off-ramp. Yes.
Not a
That is
bad
one
idea.
discussion.
Take the other side. Not a bad idea.
But I was just thinking, we'd have to make sure there's, we want people in wheelchair to be wheelchair accessible. We have to measure. Anyway, we can discuss this all the next time it goes on the agenda. But it was an interesting field trip. I think we had a good time. And that bridge, it is high. When you look down there, you don't realize how high it is until you walk. Okay, the next thing on the plaque is the Cold Springs Bridge. We also found out, as you remember the last time, it is not owned by the state. Where we picked was the Old Coast Highway, the old Stagecoach Road, which is a county road. And so we have to get approval through the county, not the Caltrans. And the county has the same thing. You have to get an encroachment permit. We had emails to the person we've been talking to. He's the head of public roads for County of Santa Barbara. He gave us a person that is involved with permits. The person sent us links to find the permit. And both Commissioner Nye and I just kind of threw up our hands. It is so confusing. Dina is not a builder or anything, or how to find this permit. So we're kind of at a dead end right now. The person did say that they would help us, but we just haven't gotten there yet. So, but they were okay with us putting the plaque under the other plaque which we had talked about at our last meeting. That pretty much has been finalized, that that's the place we're going to put the plaque. It's just a matter of having the permit and get the okay from the permit. That's on cement, so it'd be easier. Maybe the county is going to.
Yeah, our senior planner. Well, to add to what Mr. Kaufman Gray has said about the Cold Spring Bridge plaque, you can go online and you can see the application there, and it's a horrendous thing to behold and to figure out. It's screen after screen after screen with all kinds of instructions. But I'm not a computer type. So it really daunting to me. So has anyone here ever worked on such an encroachment permit for the county and would have any suggestions or even know someone that could help us fill this out, perhaps?
I think we should contact our senior planner. If we have the name of the senior planner and their
We do.
telephone number, that the senior planner would be the person that
Okay.
won't be charging us.
Her name's Nicole Liu. She's our senior planner.
We know her. I'll give her
What's the last name?
Lou.
Lieu.
You.
She's,
It's on your phone list. It is listed on your.
oh, at the bottom. Yeah. Okay, well, I will contact her on this question. Good idea. Anything else, Mr. Kaufman Gray?
No, that's my.
Okay, I will chime in under district reports. We are still working on the nomination for that stretch of the old Coast Highway. And I just thought of something else I needed to talk about.
Mr. Chair,
Yes,
is this stretch inland or is this on the coast, actually?
it's inland.
Yeah, is this the one we looked at?
Yeah, it's the Nahoki Road section. It's about
Oh,
2 miles. And you enter it from the south through that squiggly little bunch of trees, unmarked. And then, and it's one way on that section.
Yep.
And so, just to bring you up to date, Amber has been working on that nomination on our behalf. It's kind of a challenge because of the documents. And I did appeal to the county public works and their director had some staff look into it, and they actually came up with some documents for us, which just arrived a day or two ago. And I forwarded those to Amber. But long story short, she's in process putting that together, and we're under strict guidelines about when we can actually, we have to approve the nomination, or I do, and then it needs to be noticed. The owner needs, owner being the county, has to be given notice, and 30 days have to elapse before we can get it back and make a more decision on it. But so it's in process. In the meantime, what's happened? Mr. Veriano lent us a hand in doing I think a drive around survey of that section. So we really appreciate that. Would you have anything else to add on that particular?
Oh, I mean, you know, it's just a really well-preserved stretch of the Old Coast Highway that still has, you know, original concrete in many places. A beautiful area, and you know, there's historic properties, private properties that are adjacent to the county road. They're not necessarily historic landmarks, but they do, you know, contribute to the overall feeling of the area.
You mentioned in your notes to me that you saw 4 or 5 culverts. I
Yeah,
was wondering where those are.
yeah, so those would be in the higher elevated area that you connect from the 101 going north on that little one-way road section. So they're kind of up there where the elevation is for, you know, the drainage of water.
That's where I missed them then. Okay.
Yeah, they're kind of hard to see, you know, but I did a drive-by, but also did a walkthrough, you know.
Oh, excellent. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
of course. No, it was a great time.
Sorry, were those culverts?
Culverts.
Culverts.
For water drainage, I would imagine. I mean, I didn't see any, but there's potential that they could be historic, I suppose, or be included in our nomination. All right. Any other thoughts on Old Coast? We're proceeding on that. I noticed that let's see. Oh, never mind. I think that's it on that. Standard agenda.
Chair, we do have one more item. Karen Steinwalks wasn't available to join us this morning, but she did provide us with a historic resources inventory and evaluation for 2625 Santa Barbara Avenue, Los Olivos in Santa Barbara County. This might have been an area she was researching for maybe historic landmark or merit. She's actually online with us.
Who is online?
We have Karen
am.
online, but she's not.
Oh, okay, Karen.
I just gave this to you because the website doesn't have a lot of information, and this is already a house of historic merit that I'm sitting in watching you guys. And I thought, as you're updating the website, you might want to put this document up there. And then if you take a look at it, it's pretty fascinating. Ron, you and Keith probably remember it.
I do. Yeah.
But for anybody who thinks these things are simple, it's not. So
Right.
that's it.
Right.
That's why I
Well,
said,
sure, it looks nice now.
yeah.
Mr. Simon, can you email that to the chair so that when we're updating, you know, things we can, or just CC Jonathan on it? And
No,
that could be,
Jonathan has it.
okay, that's good.
Thank you for sending that along, and that that involves one of the issues on our agenda
You bet.
further down. So stay tuned. Thank you. All right. Number 8, standard agenda, Brown Act training. This will be under the direction of Council Ann Ryerson, and she will talk about the Brown Act.
So some of you have
heard this presentation before, probably. So it's just a refresher for you. And then there's some new people here probably have not heard it. So can you hear me okay? Okay. The Brown Act is California's open meetings law. And what we're going to cover is the basic rule, what are considered meetings under the Brown Act. We're going to talk about agendas, the rights of the public, remedies for violations, and then sum it up. The basic rule is that all meetings of a legislative body of a local agency shall be open and public. There's some exceptions to it, but those are narrowly construed. Next slide. Okay, so what is a legislative body? The governing body of the local agency is a legislative body, so the Board of Supervisors is, and then any commission, committee, or board created by formal action of the Board of Supervisors. So in this case, your commission, Historic Landmarks Commission, was created by an ordinance of the Board of Supervisors, so you are considered a legislative body. There's an exception at the bottom described there for ad hoc temporary advisory committees composed only of members of the legislative body that are less than a quorum. So that's why you can have like your plaques subcommittee where you can meet and you can go places. You don't have to have an agenda and have the public able to come speak. Next slide. What is a meeting? A meeting is when there's a majority of the members present at the same time and place to hear, discuss, deliberate, or take action on any item within the subject matter jurisdiction of the legislative body. And so the Brown Act talks about a majority of the members. HLAC actually has, you have in your bylaws that 5 members are a quorum. So it's really 5 members that means you have to comply with the Brown Act for your commission. Meeting includes more informal gatherings also. So if you have a site visit, for example, with 5 people, then that would be subject to the Brown Act. Next slide. You want to avoid serial meetings. So if you have one member contacting another member and another member and another member, that can be considered a meeting. And then an intermediary, if you have someone who's contacting a majority of the members and sharing information among the members, that also is considered a meeting. It includes communications of any kind. So email can create a serial meeting and so that's why staff normally, if we're sending something to the whole commission, we'll send a blind copy so that just in case you happen to reply all, it won't go to everyone because that could create an issue.
Could you
Slide?
go over that,
Okay.
those 2 things again, the chain?
Mhm.
I mean, we'd like to stay in contact as members, but maybe you could be more explicit on what we can and can't do.
You can do that if there's only 4 people that are on the email.
So this would be a reply all. This would be, you can't do that now.
Right, you can't do a reply all if there's something that goes out to all the HLAC members.
If the people in contact are
out.
4 and they copy 5, 6, and 7,
Yeah, that's a
and then
problem.
number 7 says reply all, that's a breach.
That would be an issue, yeah. Even if you didn't do the reply all, those first 2 steps would be an issue too.
I get it. Okay.
Any other questions? Okay,
Next slide.
go on.
County staff can communicate with members of a legislative body to answer questions or provide information. As long as that person does not communicate to members of the legislative body the comments or position of any other member of the legislative body. Next slide. Okay, there's some things that are not considered a meeting. A majority of members can go to an open and publicized conference, community forum, a meeting of another legislative body, or a purely social or ceremonial occasion if, next slide, the members do not discuss business that is within the subject matter jurisdiction of their legislative body. So several years ago, there was a special district in Isla Vista that had an issue with this. They had, some of the members had a barbecue and allegedly discussed business of their district and didn't invite one of the other members. And then there was a Brown Act case and they ended up having to pay a lot of money in attorney's fees to get rid of that case. So you have to be careful of informal gatherings too. Next slide. Social media. A majority of members cannot use an internet-based social media platform to discuss among themselves business that's within the subject matter of the legislative body. You can't respond directly to any communication on a matter within the subject matter of the legislative body that is made, posted, or shared by another member. And discuss among themselves includes comments or use of digital icons or emojis. So say you have a landmark nomination coming before you and post something about that on social media. Another member should not even respond with a smiley face or thumbs up. That's considered a problem. Next slide. Regular meetings. They must be held at the time and place set by ordinance, resolution, or bylaws, and the agenda is posted at least 72 hours in advance. Next slide. Special meetings may be called by the chair or a majority of the members, and written notice has to be given to each member, posted on the agency website 24 hours before the meeting. Next slide. Teleconferencing. So these are the traditional teleconferencing rules that have been in place for a long time. And this is where teleconferencing is set up ahead of time to comply with these rules. And I'm not really aware of HSOC ever using these, ever doing this, but I'll go through them. So you may meet by teleconference through audio and or video if all votes are taken by roll call. Each location's identified in the agenda. The agenda is posted at each location ahead of time. Public rights are protected at each location. It has to be accessible to the public and there has to be an opportunity for the public to participate. And at least a quorum of members participate from within the county. So Jonathan went through these rules a couple weeks ago, I think, for you. Next slide. So there are some exceptions. You can have teleconferencing without complying with all those rules I just went through until January 1st, 2026. And then they're going to change. So if there's a proclaimed state of emergency, or if an individual member may teleconference if at least a quorum is in person at one physical location in the county, identified on the agenda and open to the public, and the individual members unable to attend due to emergency circumstances, which is a physical or family medical emergency, or just cause. Next slide. Just cause includes caregiving for a specific list of family members, a contagious illness that prevents attending in person, a need related to a physical or mental disability, travel while on official government business, or an immunocompromised family member that's listed. Okay, the agenda. Each item must be briefly described on the agenda, and then the discussion's generally limited to agenda items. There are some things you can do when it's not on the agenda. You can briefly respond to public comment. You can ask a question or clarification, make a brief report on your own activities. You can provide a reference for factual information, You can request that staff reports back or that an item be placed on a future agenda. Next. There are some things that can be discussed in closed session. I'm not aware of HLAC ever having a closed session. But those are used by the Board of Supervisors. Rights of the public. So the public has a right to address the legislative body on each item of business on the agenda and any other matter of public interest. Next. The public has the right to attend meetings without registering their name or providing other information. They have the right to record unless persistently disruptive. Next slide. One more. Okay. They have the right to criticize, and they have the right to inspect and obtain agendas and non-exempt writings made available to a majority of the members. They don't have a right to get exempt writings such as attorney-client privileged communications. Next slide. Accessibility, the rules have to be accessible under the ADA. The agendas must be made available in appropriate alternative formats upon request. And you can't have meetings at a location that's inaccessible to disabled persons. Next slide. For a Brown Act violation, there can be a civil action by the district attorney or an interested party. You have to give an opportunity to cure. So usually that would be a do-over. Just hear the item again. They could also enjoin a future violation or invalidate a past violation, and attorney's fees and costs are recoverable. And then there is a possibility for criminal charges that requires intent to deprive the public of information. Next. There's a new law that was just approved by the governor October 3rd. Most of the sections take effect January 1st, and they revise the teleconferencing rules among other changes. So we'll be kind of studying that in county council and giving some advice to the different departments. And then there's our new eligible legislative body requirements that begin in July 1st, and those will apply to the Board of Supervisors. Did you have a question? They have, it's defined in this new law, and it seems to be the highest level of organization. So the city council, the Board of Supervisors, there's just some named legislative bodies that it applies to. I don't think it applies to HLAC though. Okay, so to wrap it up, the basic rule was all meetings of a legislative body shall be open and public. The presumptions in favor of public access, there's a few exceptions, but they're narrowly construed. And then also for meetings, there's a due process consideration that the legislative body is supposed to enter hearings as neutral decision makers. I think that's it. Any questions?
Is this available in our online packets?
No, I could, if you are interested, I could send you one.
Oh yeah, that'd be great. It'd be
Okay.
nice to review. Thanks.
All right.
So, question, this last thing, neutral decision makers. Is that long for impartiality?
Yes.
Thank you.
Would it benefit all of us receiving this little summary?
Sure, if you'd like.
Yeah, I don't have enough paperwork. I would like a copy of this.
That would make it a meeting if we handled it improperly though, right?
It's fine. It's fine.
Do you want it in paper or just a link?
Digital is fine.
Digital, thank you. And if there are no other questions, we'll move along to the next item.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ann.
We are now on item 9, placement of bronze plaque at the All Saints by the Sea Episcopal Church. And what was that?
Jonathan playing with us.
Oh, okay. Yes, I will direct your attention to Commissioner Kaufman Gray.
This will be a real quick agenda item here. That September 17th, the day that our subcommittee went to Ruahana Bridge, we also went down to Montecito to All Saints by the Sea Episcopal Church. We met with Reverend Channing Smith and staff, and we looked at potential sites to put the plaque. And it was really nice. They also gave us a tour of the whole church inside, which if you've never been inside, it is beautiful. As you know, placing a plaque is very challenging because you don't want to ruin the whole feel of the architecture of the building. So we looked at a couple of places. We kind of decided what we kind of liked, and then Reverend Smith took it to his staff and parishioners, and then last week he came back with the place that they'd like to plaque. So today we're pretty much just finalizing to put it where they like it. Then I can email them, and they already have the plaque, brought it the day we were there, and then they can put it up. So there was really two places that we thought were good for the plaque, both the church and the subcommittee. And I wish I had a further back picture of the church so you can see, but this is the main steps from the front of the church, and the actual entrance to the church is to the right of where you see Commissioner Nye sitting or kneeling. And so this, why it's low, the next picture, please. If you look, there's already a plaque to the right. So the idea is it's low, it's the same level as the other plaque. And as people walk up the stairs, they're actually at eye level and they see the lower plaque as they're walking up the stairs to go into the church. And so that was the one place to put. The next slide up. Is that it? Only those two? Okay, well then keep this one up. To the right, where you see the other railing, that is a walkway from the parking lot. And the other possibility was to put it by that railing, but up higher as people would see it. And the church, after much discussion, liked the idea of where Ron is holding the plaque as being the one now, just because that's where more people come into the church. If they have a wedding and stuff, there's a patio up front where the bride and groom will take pictures and stuff. So everyone pretty much could see the plaque from both directions. So that is where they decided they'd like to have the plaque, and we agreed as an ad hoc subcommittee that this was a good spot for the plaque. So anyway, that's really the presentation. We can open up to questions.
Just curious what the other plaque says.
I think it's someone that donated money for something. There's a lot of plaques in the cement in the entrance, for different things. But we thought having it the same height it doesn't distract from the look of the church from the outside, because you really don't see the church from the front, but with the plaque on the inside.
I guess it's not a big deal. It just seems to me that maybe a bit higher would have been preferable. I know you said from the bottom of the stairs, but who's gonna be reading it from the bottom of the stairs as you kind of go up to it more closer, like where Ron is? But if you're standing, it'd be a lot nicer to see it more chest level or eye level. But yeah, where it is, it's not a big deal to me, but just making observations.
Yeah, we looked at both, and help me out here. The idea is we felt it looked off because one was high and one was low.
I mean, the one on the other side?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
guess.
even, and it's nice
Okay.
to have it even. And like I said, the steps, they're not a lot of steps, there's just a few steps. So you are at a lower, when you're lower, it's almost at eye level, that as you're
Okay.
walking up. And our plaque's very simple. It's not like there's
Yeah.
a lot to read.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
just, it will say county landmark number, boom. And will see it. And we thought this side versus the other, just because of weddings, you have people that never been to the church before, they go to a wedding, that they will be educated that, oh, this is a county.
The pastor also favored this spot that you see me holding there. And that is an important reason why he thought it, and we there's no perfect place, but we very much did not want to impact the beautiful architecture of that building from the street. So we want public to know, but we don't want it to be a distraction from the design and materials. Commissioner Snow, anything else? No, okay. Yes, Mr. Salaga.
Just a comment and question. To me, something to question is being placed on a rough stone as part of the installation.
Yes, there'll be something done to,
It'll be like the one you see on the right. That's been ground in and it's flushed to the rock.
And that was another reason why we chose that stone. If you look, it was a good stone. A lot of them, they had the concrete or there was something there, or the stone was really stuck out. It was hard to place it.
the other thing is that our plaque, the letters are big enough to read, even if they're a little low. And the drawback on the other plaque that's already there is not only is it low, but the wording is tiny. And that would certainly,
That was Lady Ridley Tree had given.
oh, was that it? You remember that?
No, I can see it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, she's a very humble person apparently, because it's if that is the wheelchair ramp there too, to the right, so someone at that level could more readily read that. All right, thank you all. Oh, we have to vote on
Yeah,
this,
we
right?
need a vote, vote on this so then I can email them to go ahead and install it.
I could move to, that we approve the installation of the plaque for the All Saints by the Sea Episcopal Church in the location shown in the picture where Dr. Nye is holding the plaque.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
We have a nominate, whatever the term is, and a second. And all those in favor?
Aye.
I,
Opposed?
Aye.
Oh,
Abstain. I abstain.
okay, Mr. Salaga abstains.
oh, a quick comment though, and it just, it was very thoughtful and sincere that the way you thought about it and gave the discussion. So yeah, thank you for
Oh.
that.
Thanks. Yeah,
And all the traveling that you did to visit all these places as well to do this. So thank you.
Almost as much work as the plaque as make them up.
okay, very good. So will Mr. Kaufman Gray, will you follow up with the pastor
Yeah,
and
I'll email
and tell him to go forward?
Just said go forward whenever it's convenient for them.
Okay, excellent. Thank you. We move to our last item. Number 10, we will carry on our conversation. Oh my gosh. There was a picture from Spain in there. I knew somebody who stayed in that hotel and it was pretty something, pretty well. Okay, the discussion we began at the last meeting had to do with improving our Woebegone website. And it was suggested that if we could add a GIS component, much like other agencies have done, indicating to the public the designated properties and where they might find them, and with additional information easily at hand, it would really be to our advantage as outreach. And Mr. Arena, Villarino, I apologize, is asked to kind of lead these discussions and has actually done some background experimenting and has come in today and will further enlighten us on this. Mr. Villarino.
Yeah, I've been hearing my name pronounced incorrectly my whole life, so I'm used to it, don't worry. I'm just curious, Jonathan, did you happen to get the maps, the interactive web maps that I created? I did email them. Would I be able to email those now? Would we be in compliance with the Brown Act?
I think Jonathan should have received those. Oh, but you might do it. This might be faster.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because you knew the date.
Technology, yes, okay.
What was discussed at the last meeting in terms of the website and the GIS?
Just general things, didn't get to do far.
We put up the Parks Department.
Yeah.
map And looked at how that one worked. People seem to like it.
We didn't get very deep into it, so.
Yeah, there would be a second one as well. Okay, perfect. So yeah, basically, I went ahead and created two versions of an interactive web map. One is a web map, that's what it's called, and that's what the County of Santa Barbara already uses for the Parks Department for their map. So if you see there's a legend, it shows historic landmarks and then historic places of merit, as well as the County of Santa Barbara boundary. And if you click on one of the historic landmarks, Jonathan, if you don't mind, it'll pull up all this information about the landmark itself. So this is just information I pulled from from our nomination packets. I basically just copy and pasted the description. But this is an example, and if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you have a picture attached as well, and then just above that, there's an actual link to the nomination packet itself. So if you click on view right there, it'll take you to the actual nomination. So, and then if you don't mind going to the second map. Yeah. Yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, so then this is called a web experience, and I believe that's what the County of Ventura uses for their interactive map. So the format of this, if you actually take that window of with our meeting and pull it over a little bit. So on the right hand here, you have other items to use. So you can use map, if you use map layers right there, if you click on that, it'll show you the layers that are on the map, and then right below it on the other tab on the right. The other, like the little blue dots, yeah. Exactly. So then a legend, and then you can, right below that, there's options for base maps as well. So you can change to topographic, whatever it might be. And then there's also the search function, so you can actually search if you know like the landmark. So I just provided these two examples, and personally, I think that having a web experience would be like a better format for the public. And by the way, these are also available on mobile, so you can pull it up on your phone, and it looks about the same, just like slightly formatted differently. I just don't know if the County of Santa Barbara uses web experiences. So it might be easier for them to make a web map like the first map that we have, just because they already have that built within their system. Does anyone have any questions real quick?
Well, I prefer the first one that you showed. And that this other one with these other things off to the side, maybe because I'm not totally computer savvy or oriented. I think the other one is much more direct and gives you a more immediate link to the information. The other comment that I would have is when you click on something, I think it'd be better to have a picture of what the landmark was, which might entice you to look into it in more depth with all of the text below it.
Right, and that's actually something that we can change. So I can actually, like, whoever makes it could actually organize the information in a different way. But yeah, I agree that the first one is more direct, and I think that's also a question, like how in depth do we want to go with this? Especially if the county, if we'll be paying the county to make it. I don't know how that's going to impact the budget. I think ideally, if we'd be able to manage this ourselves, it would cut costs a lot more. I mean, I'm able to make it. It's just the county themselves would have to like host it. So, and like getting into like minor changes like that and organization, that's gonna drive up the budget or drive up the cost as well. Yeah, just more changes. Like, so what I'm saying is if we have the power to actually manage it ourselves, it's not going to cost anything. And other than maybe paying the county to host it, but like these little changes here and there are just going to start adding up in costs.
Commissioner Coppengray.
Yeah, when you first sent it, it's on the subcommittee, I looked at both. I do like the second one better just because in the future, we'll be probably putting trails, and having a topographic map will be easier to put a trail with, so people can zoom in. But the big thing again is cost. So if it's going to be a lot easier since the county already has the other system, better just to do what they have, unless it's not going to cost that much to switch. I like the idea of having the picture first and then I also noticed when I pulled up the box, see the first map, it has the historic landmark place of merit. Click on that, and when you get to the open, it was just, I figured it didn't say historic landmark 1, it just said something. I think it's important to put, once a pop-up comes up on the side, says his place of historic merit number, whatever, place historic landmark. And instead of just saying item 1, or I forget what it says exactly.
Yeah, I believe it said status number.
Status number. And I think instead of status number, it should say historic landmark, because you go back, when you clicked it, it says a historic landmark there. But I think when you go in there, it's just a reminder that you are looking at a historic landmark or a place of merit. I mean, it's just a simple little thing to put in.
Definitely, yeah.
It's not the one you see right now is, but Jonathan, click the blue dot that does the topography. I think it's the third one. You click on it there. See how you can show the topography? The first one doesn't show topography.
So the second one has more bells and whistles, more options to the public, but it may cost us more money cost somebody more money to have a more complex presentation. I can't answer that. Mr. Villarino could.
Yeah, it's a bit more, the first map is more bare bones. And then this one has more bells and whistles on it. So, and not only that, but I actually don't know if the county of Santa Barbara uses web experiences. The county of Ventura does. So that's, I guess, something that we'd have to look into. It's basically, not to get too complex with it, but Esri is a GIS organization, and they're the ones that have created these applications for people to use.
See,
So Jonathan, could you ask around, what is the system that the county uses? It's for its GIS. That might help us at least know that much.
We use a software called ZWorld. Let me double check that. Yeah, we use ZWorld GIS for our mapping software.
How's that spelled?
Z, just the letter Z, world.
Z World,
Yes.
Zebra.
Z as in zebra, yes.
Z
World.
World,
Yeah.
capitalized W.
That's just the, I'm just seeing.
Z World, okay. Mr. Villarino, are you familiar with that?
I'm not, but I'm gonna go look it up right after this meeting. And then I'd also just like to add too, I think if we do go the route of paying the county to do this, when we should get with the ad hoc committee and iron out all the details of what we want. You know, the format, everything like that. So that way, when we present it, it'll cost as least as possible.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, Mr. Witosh.
I think we have one shot at this and we have a shot at excellence. And I think we should pay it and do it and get the best.
Whatever the county is using, if it's using Z World, we may have to work with that system. But it
I think that they can
could handle it.
integrate or, meld the two. I think it's possible.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think the softwares are incompatible
Okay.
unless Jonathan thinks so.
Not to my knowledge.
Okay.
Okay, Mr. Kaufman Gray.
Yeah, I was just thinking, the big question is maintenance of it once set up, if they're gonna allow us to kind of do it versus having them, because that will be an ongoing cost. For us, if we're able to, have someone wants to do it and maintain it, I think that would be a great way to go. I mean, this $1,000 that is in here, we're estimating it 10 hours of work. So we got to make sure that we need to figure out what we want done, and is it going to be within that 10 hours for them to do it? Or is it going to cost them a lot more because of that? So I guess that's something our subcommittee will have to look at. Input from everybody here today. What do we, prefer map 1, map 2? If it's cost money wise, is map 1 okay? But if we go to map 2, would we prefer that? Maybe we prefer map 1. Maybe the first decision right now would be map 1 or 2 with the caveat that we like 2, too expensive that maybe.
The two things that mean most to me would be the having the picture first and to identify each historic landmark by number properly so that people can identify the name with the historic landmark, 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And I don't know whether you do this with places of historic merit or not, but landmarks, I think for sure. And again, the detail of the map would be subject to the discretion of the committee. But, I don't have a preference on that. I just think the photo being the signal, the first page and the identity of the landmark is critical.
Thank you. Mr. Knight, I see your hand is up.
Yeah, I agree that the picture should come first and that the number of the landmark is important. We kind of have a unique situation with those trails. And I think that lends itself to the second version. So I would lean strongly in that direction because we've got those trails, and if you're going to get out on a trail, you need a more functionality of the maps.
All right, thank you. Mr. Salaga.
Yes, I think the decision, whether it's one or two, is extremely important. I'm strongly in favor of number one. With the issue of the trails, it seems to me that there are probably other maps and sources that would provide very detailed information on where they're located and better description of our historic landmark description. So I think that's less relevant than the ease of access and incorporation into what may have been set as a precedent.
Thank you. Mr. Kaufman Gray.
Just a question to Mr. Villarino. You mentioned the web experience is use it on your phone. Does that mean the other one you cannot use on the phone?
You can, it's just, it's not as, it just doesn't, it basically looks like what you're seeing on the screen, the first one, whereas the second one looks more like a mobile app. So,
Because I mean, people are around the county, want to see where it is. A lot of people. Use the phone.
yeah. Yeah, both can be used on the phone. It's just that the web experience is more integrated for like mobile devices. For two.
Is web experience 2 words or 1?
What?
Web experience, is that 1 word?
It's 2. Yeah.
I've got a question for John.
Yes.
You're a hiker, I'm a hiker. Could you put a link to all trails on map 1 for people that wanted to?
Yeah, you can. And the other thing that I would consider if you want to actually put a trail that's mapped on this is liability. So maybe having like the trailhead itself would be good, but like having an actual physical trail for people to follow, I don't know if that might fall into like, liability with the county. But you can have a link to like the All Trails trail, because these trails are on all trails, at least some of them. Yeah, so.
I don't understand the connection between seeing the trails on a map and county liability.
I'm just thinking if there is a physical trail for people to follow, if people are following it and then they get into a precarious situation, and then it's like, oh, well, why were you out there? And they're following a map we made. But I don't know for sure. I was just
Yeah.
considering.
I understand. Yep. That's a valid concern. Mr. Sloga made I think, a good point about the fact that once you get to the trailhead, there are local maps that take you through the trail and less apt to get lost following those maps than something on a web. Just thought.
They're all good suggestions and thoughts. Yes, Mr. Kaufman Gray.
Well, as being a member on the subcommittee, it'd be nice to have consensus from everyone here today if they could put 1 or 2, so we get an idea what direction the subcommittee should go. I hear a lot of people kind of leaning towards 1 and some leaning towards 2. Be nice to know kind of where the whole commission feels like it, and then maybe we can throw in cost thing if we find out that 2 is going to be a lot more expensive than 1, then some of the 2 people might say, well, then 1 is fine, or vice versa. But it'd be nice to know a consensus so that the subcommittee kind of know where
Nice to know what,
Commissioner Snow.
I have a question because I was part of the, I guess it was not the mapping, the committee that took photos of all our landmarks and we were looking to see where it was. And I think it was, and Lansing. But I got really stuck trying to find one that was a tree that had had a school under it in Carpinteria. I never found it. I think it's like landmark number 3. And it was like some of these trying to find the actual landmark with the plaque. It was really difficult. And I don't know if either of these would help you. Like if I had it on my phone, if I moved 5 feet over, I mean, I never found the tree. And it's one of our really the first landmarks. So would it help you if you took 5 steps over, you'd get a little warmer? I don't know.
Well, it's something for the committee to think about is directional information. Yeah, well, think about that one.
Yeah. That would depend on the connection to the satellite services if it's like out of reception. But yeah, I mean, that is a concern, and a consideration of like some of these landmarks maybe aren't physically there anymore.
That was what I was thinking, because I was taking pictures of trees at that point,
Right.
because that's where a lot of the photographs came from, the 3 of us who were going around trying to find the actual monument.
Yeah, so I think
We
like the
couldn't find the one
subcommittee, we
in-
could figure out that one, because the other thing too is I know like the places of historic merit, a lot of those are private properties, and do we want to have people's private property information out there? I mean, it's already on the nomination packet, but
That's a question. I wouldn't, it would seem to be, yeah, I mean, it's a question.
right.
so this,
So-
But once, I mean, they know it's on our list, so like if they can know to expect, at least drivers by or something. Commissioner Malcolm.
I just want to say, talking about the consensus, going back to that, yeah, they both look great. I'd prefer number 2, but I want to wait until John looks at the Z-World application. Maybe that might be a little bit different. That might be even preferable just to be consistent with the county anyway, and see what happens until yeah, you said consensus, but we're not making a decision. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and thank you, John, for, this is terrific. Thank you.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Witosh.
I'd welcome a little clarification of what it means a lot more expensive. What the difference between 1 and 2, you say a lot more expensive. What does that mean? Twice, 15 times?
I'm not sure about that.
I'd be curious, and also if that more expensive language includes the $1,000, or is it part of the 1,000, or is that a hosting expense that recurs annually, monthly? Is this something we have some say in? And what is, I think that there's a lot riding on the choice between 1 and 2 because of the expense.
It looks as though this $1,000 was 10 hours worth of work by somebody on the county staff to kind of start talking to us about it.
Right.
Look and helping out, and that's what it would cost us.
I know
I think we could,
having a website, I pay a hosting expense. So I'm curious to know what that would be. I know what I pay for my website, but I don't know what the county would pay for its website.
okay, those are all
Question? That's
important,
just a
yeah.
question.
Mr. Salaga?
Yes, can I suggest a straw vote on 1 versus 2 today? And not that it's binding, but just to get a general expression of opinion before we have thoughts.
Yes, we can have a straw vote. How many would prefer example number one. At the moment, yeah.
Are we doing a? What if we?
This is just a straw vote. We can raise
We have
hands or
enough
we can,
information.
I think official vote, so we just have to get an estimation of who's for one and who's for two.
we do or we don't.
Don't, it's just a straw vote, so we just need to make
Yeah,
sure.
so, the straw vote, it's just, we don't have to go into great detail who says what. So, I take it the rest of the people would back number two.
Straw man says two. But how are we recognizing people's
I think a lot of it, we're all, I think,
anybody raising hands for either.
I think a lot of us are thinking that, again, it has to do with the money. And
Exactly.
if the first is gonna be, they already have it in the county and it's not gonna cost us that much to do number one. And the 10 hours is just to give them all the information to put it, for the county to put it on the system. If we find out it's gonna cost us $3,000 or $4,000 more to do number two, well, then I think most of us, in general, would go ahead and do number one.
I acknowledge what you're saying.
Yes.
As a straw vote is not committing, and budget is obviously extremely important.
So I think we can say that we don't know enough yet to,
Right.
well, okay, go ahead.
Would I be able to talk directly to the county, like representative or person that we're going to be communicating with? Because I think that would be easiest if, that person and I have a mutual understanding.
I will,
Yeah, you're chair of the.
Right, right.
Subcommittee, so you can just be represented as chair of the subcommittee. You're just asking for information.
Okay, who's the person I contact? We know?
we don't know.
Yeah, I can get you in contact with that person.
Okay, perfect.
You know the person's name?
Yeah, it's Brett Ryan. He's the head of our GIS department.
Okay. So I'll contact Mr. Ryan then and, get a little bit more feedback. And yes, I am the chair. I might need a little guidance on it for this subcommittee, but
Sure.
yeah. But I think that like the discussion we've had was productive and we've identified some areas that we want to, improve upon.
This Brett is the same one that I've dealt with before, then we're in good hands. There's somebody there that is really nice and helpful. Yeah. I think it's the same guy. He's the one who actually put together our maps for the Rocky Nook Park, which were super nice. And as far as I know, he didn't charge anything. He just he literally ran them off and sent it, and they had all the stuff we wanted on it. Okay. So we'll punt this to the chair of the web page ad hoc committee and I'm going to be gone for the next 3 weeks, but the rest of the group, well, I'll be available on email. So maybe we can come up with a time and a place to meet. Are you, if you're down in this end of the county from time to time, maybe that would be a good time to.
Yeah.
What you do is you could do is what you're gonna do, email the other subcommittee members. Who is it? It's Commissioner Snow, myself. Who else?
I think me. I don't know.
So, okay,
Yeah.
so since you're gonna be out of country, I have a way to communicate with you and I, so that we can discuss, and then if we come up with anything that he needs to know, I can text him.
You can reach me by email.
Email?
Yeah.
Okay, I do by email, and just so that, we can keep things moving, not wait.
Right.
Yeah. I'm going to contact Mr. Ryan and then I'll.
Okay.
tell you all.
That might be real quick.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else, Mr. Knight?
Yeah, of course.
I agree. Yes, yes, we applaud Commissioner Knight for bringing us John. Love it, love it. Well, you got our full support and we'll just have to keep working to
Yeah.
get where we want to go.
And I agree, we have one shot to do this, you know, I think we should try to do it right, but if it's going to impact the budget immensely, then maybe we'll put the brakes on it. Anyways.
Thank you. Thank you all, and we